Jett has always been one of the most broken agents in Valorant, and you need to start playing her. She's got the ability to escape almost any situation, and is able to manipulate the pace of a game using her abilities alone, if played properly. I understand, locking duelists can feel like a lot of responsibility, so that's why in this guide we'll be talking about how to get the most out of Jett, her abilities, and how to synergize between her abilities, so you'll never let your teammates down. And by the end, you'll know everything you need to start climbing through the ranks with Jett. And for everything else you need to climb ranks and improve fast, there's SkillCapped. We take the highest priority skills to climb ranks fast, such as aiming, and then break it down into a step-by-step course that's easy to understand. You'll not only learn the basics, like crosshair placement and clearing angles properly, but also more advanced concepts, like getting more multi-kills and repositioning. That's not all though. Every week, we release 6 brand new VOD reviews, where Radiant coaches teach you how to climb out of the exact rank that you're stuck in. And if you're looking for something a little more personal instead, well, we've got you covered, with our new one-on-one coaching at our SkillCapped Discord. All this seems too good to be true, right? Well, don't worry. We're backed by a rank up guarantee, which means if you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, you'll get your money back. No questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. Alright, let's get back into the guide. Okay, let's begin with Jett's most versatile ability, Cloudburst. This ability will throw a smoke at wherever you're aiming and last for 4.5 seconds. These smokes can be used in so many different ways, but I'll highlight a couple ways I find myself using them all the time. One way I use Cloudburst is to create an impromptu one-way on basically any angle in Valorant. To do this, you need to throw the smoke at a wall above where the enemies will peek, so that you'll only be able to see their legs or feet when they peek the angle. Now, this can take a bit of practice, but I believe in you. Another way I use Cloudburst is to isolate gunfights by cutting one enemy off with a smoke. For example, if I'm in a 1v2 situation, I always try to smoke off one enemy and swing the other if I can. Because isolating gunfights in a 1v however many situation, it's almost always the best way to play them. For these situations and many more, having 2 Cloudbursts every round is one of the most crucial parts of Jett's kit, and provides her with a lot of versatility as an agent. Now, moving on to Jett's second ability, Updraft. This ability boosts you into the air, and can get you on top of any object in Valorant. Some ways you can use this ability is to get on top of objects for off angles that the enemy won't expect, or by using it alongside other abilities like Bladestorm, but we'll talk about this a little later in the guide. Another way I like to use Updraft is with guns like the Judge or the Shorty. They're pretty accurate while you're still in the air, and it can definitely catch an enemy off guard. In conclusion, this ability just adds that extra layer of movement and unpredictability to Jett when used properly. Since we've been talking about Jett being such a monster in terms of aggression and mobility, her Tailwind ability is what enables her to do so. This ability is basically a get-out-of-jail-free card. The reason I'm describing Jett's dash as a get-out-of-jail-free card is because you can escape practically any situation that you encounter with it. You just need to plan on where and how you want to use it. For example, if you play Jett on Ascent and you're fighting for A main on defense, you can go against the wall on the left here and dash right out after contact with the enemy. This is a pretty common play you'll see a lot of Jett players in Immortal Plus do. However, you do have to keep in mind when using this ability, it does need to charge for a second before you can actually use the dash. So you need to activate it before you try to take any fight or engage if you plan on using Tailwind as an escape. Finally, Jett's dash is what ties her whole kit together, and it makes her who she is. Jett, for the longest time, was considered the most broken agent in the game, and even today is considered incredibly strong, all due to this one ability. And it might seem just like being able to dash is something pretty basic, but the impact of this ability is incredible. Having the ability to escape any dangerous situation almost instantly is one of the most valuable things any agent can have in Valorant. Along with this, it's also multi-purpose, allowing Jett to enter as well. Tailwind is Jett's bread and butter, and you definitely should not underestimate this ability. Next, Jett's ultimate ability, Bladestorm, gives you 5 knives to use in a round. This ability has 2 firing modes, a left click and a right click. If you left click, you'll shoot one of Jett's knives at a time. If you right click, you'll shoot all of them at once. I would only recommend right clicking for extremely close range fights. Each firing mode has different mechanics, and we'll begin by explaining how the left click works. When you left click, you're always accurate with Jett's knives, even when you're in the air, which is why Updraft pairs well with Bladestorm. And as for damage done, assuming the enemy has full shield, it'll take 4 knives to kill an enemy in the legs, 3 to the chest, and 1 knife to the head. Also, when you kill an enemy with the left click of Jett's knives, you get all your knives back again upon getting the kill. However, when you're right-clicking with Jett's knives, you will not get your knives back after killing the enemy. And on the other hand, Jett's right-click does not one-shot in the head like the left-click does, but the rest of the damage multipliers are the same. When a knife hits an enemy's head while using the right click, it'll only do 100 damage instead of the 150 that the left click does. So if you are going to right click with Jett's ultimate, you want to aim for the enemy's body at close range, which is the only time you should be right clicking anyways, as left clicking with the knives is generally more rewarding and precise. Now, unlike many other agents in Valorant, Jett has a passive ability called Drift. This passive ability allows Jett to glide as long as she's in the air by using the spacebar. You can use it to glide on top of objects, avoid fall damage in any situation, or even use it to glide while using Bladestorm. One pretty cool thing to note about this passive is it even works if you're KO knifed. Thanks Riot, thanks for that. Alright, next, we'll be talking about how to use your abilities in unison and bring them all together. So here are some of the things that I do when I'm playing Jett. My personal favorite thing to do when entering with Jett, or even when retaking a site, is that I almost always throw a smoke down ahead of me and dash into it. What you can do after dashing into the smoke is variable. You could wait a couple seconds for your team to push up with you, or you could peek out either side of it, because you just being in the smoke will cause a lot of chaos for the enemy team, and they're going to be worried about you. One thing you should try to avoid when doing this though is being predictable, because if you do the same thing over and over, it becomes readable. You want to always do something different when you enter. You could even add an updraft to this as well. For example, on Ascent A site, you can throw a smoke on top of generator and then updraft dash on top of the generator. There's also a lot you can do with Jett's kit to support you while you use Bladestorm. What I like to do when I use Jett's ultimate is updraft around corners with my dash activated. Take any fight I can get while doing so, because it's just a hard adjustment for the enemy to make if they're holding an angle and need to flick into the air to kill you. It gives you a lot of time to fight them. Something else you could do with Jett's ultimate is double updraft at the start of a round, but almost all the double updraft spots are pretty common, so it could be easily readable to do so. I'd only recommend doing a double updraft once a game, or situationally. One really powerful double updraft is on Haven and A-Link. You can double updraft off the big box in A-Link and get some super easy kills on retake. Finally, with all the abilities explained, we can take a look at a professional Jett player and analyze them. Today, we chose Durka. He plays for Fnatic and recently won the VCT lock-in event, and is widely considered one of the best players in the entire world. We'll be looking at Durka while he's playing ranked, because if we showed pro play, it would be impossible to replicate a lot of the things he's doing on Jett. Since there's a lot of team synergy in pro play, that's just not possible to pull off with random teammates a lot of the time. Now, to start off the first round we'll be looking at, Durka is in B Heaven on split playing pistol round on defense, and the enemy team is pushing middle pretty much immediately. Notice how Durka breaks the enemy's skydog and immediately backs up to an off angle on the edge of rafters. The reason he plays here is because his dash is activated, and after he gets one kill, he can immediately dash to his left and prepare for another fight, or to retake Heaven with his team. Now, even though this off angle doesn't work out in the moment, he makes a good play by falling off and going to another off angle below rafters. This off angle works out for him and he gets the first kill. And he makes a really good play by just backing up after the first kill he gets. But watch carefully how he uses his Jett smoke to isolate gunfights here and give himself an advantage. When Durka throws this one-way smoke rafters, the enemies have two options. They either need to push the smoke or drop down below Heaven. If they drop, Durka has an easy one-way kill against him. If they walk through the smoke on rafters, then Durka has a massive advantage in the gunfight. So this was just incredible usage of Jett's Cloudburst on the fly. Alright, next up in the second round we're highlighting on Durka. He'll be attacking this time on split. To start with, Durka's teammate pings an enemy is in ropes. So before anything else, Durka activates his dash in case he gets into any danger. After Durka gets this first kill on the enemy Jett, he decides not to dash because there's no immediate threat to him, and instead he backs up and looks towards B Heaven to help his team since he still has that get out of jail free card available. Durka then takes the space ropes from when he killed the enemy Jett and uses his dash to fake the sound cue of him dashing away. This baits the enemy Killjoy into walking into a very advantageous fight for Durka. Durka ends up taking the A site for his team off the back of 2 kills he got in the middle and ropes, so we'll skip to a bit later in the round. In a post-plant 2v4 situation, Durka takes a big gamble by updrafting onto rafters, but in reality, this is a low-risk play for Durka, since right before he updrafted, he activated his dash, and he could leave at any moment. But through his crazy aim, Durka secures 2 easy kills and dashes to safety with his teammate. Now, Durka's playing with his teammate, who thankfully helps him out a little this round and gets a kill, but eventually falls. After Durka's teammate dies, he immediately activates his dash and takes the 1v1, since if he misses his first few bullets, he can immediately dash away. But instead, he just wins the round. Overall, this was an incredibly well-played round from him, with excellently used Jett utility. Moving on to the third round we highlighted, we're on the attack side of Ascent. Durka has pushed down middle towards tree and has his Bladestorm activated. He comes behind the enemy Astra in tree, and since she isn't looking at him or fighting him, there's no need to right-click since he can easily just left-click the Astra and get his knives back. After killing Astra, he immediately dashes and then updrafts out of the smoke to fight enemies in heaven. Now, the reason he updrafts is because the enemies heaven are likely looking towards A main, and doing this makes it a more difficult fight for them since Durka's in the air, and it allows his teammates to swing out of A main to help him. Durka's teammate finishes the enemy in heaven though, so Durka swaps to the Phantom he picked up from Astra, since he only has a couple of knives remaining, which is really good decision making in the moment. Now, on his way to push heaven, Durka throws an incredible one-way smoke for heaven. Although unfortunately he ends up dying this time, you can imagine how effective this smoke could have been for him. This round overall just has really good utility from Durka on Jett. This was just a glimpse of what we have to offer though. Over at SkillCapped, we've got you covered with dozens of tailor-made courses that'll teach you everything you need to know about climbing in Valorant. We'll teach you everything you need to know about mastering your mechanics so you can start playing at an immortal level in no time. Along with this, we also upload tons of VOD reviews each week that our coaches record from looking at players just like you. So rather than just paying for one $200 coaching session on another platform, you can get access to hundreds of sessions for just a few bucks. Not only that, but our coaches are also at the ready in our Discord to take a look at your gameplay and tell you exactly what your issues are. If by chance you don't find value from all the other things we offer on our site, use the link below for a discount on your purchase today. Well, that about does it. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.